And still on the Middle East crisis, a researcher and former officer in Israeli IDF spokesperson's unit, Ophir Diane, joins us live from Tel Aviv. Hello, Ophir. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
Now, before we go to look into Israel's peace talks with Lebanon, Pakistan brokered a ceasefire deal between Iran and Israel. Is it on its third day, right? It's on its Thursday, rather. And in your view, how is this going?
So it is going relatively okay because there are no missile launches from Iran, but Lebanon, we still experience many rockets from Lebanon hitting towns and villages in northern Israel. Today, there was a hit in a village in northern Israel that caused many injuries in a school, and other fires that broke out in several residential areas in Israel because the terrorist organization Hezbollah in Lebanon keeps firing at Israel.
Ceasefire deal between Iran and Israel is on its Thursday, like we said. What is your response to the allegation by Iran that Israel's action in Lebanon is a breach of the ceasefire deal with the U.S.?
I think it's very clear. President Donald Trump, as well, his spokesperson, Caroline Levitt, said very explicitly that this ceasefire agreement does not include Hezbollah in Lebanon. And as long as Hezbollah in Lebanon insists on still remaining an armed organization inside a sovereign country, the Lebanese country, we can't accept such a threat on Israeli citizens. Obviously, it's the prime goal of a country to protect its citizens. And as long as Hezbollah refuses to disarm, Israel really has no choice but to exclude Lebanon from this ceasefire agreement. And this position is supported by the American administration. And, we wouldn't expect any country to allow an armed military faction inside its government that is not a part of the official state army. So Israel shouldn't accept that as well.
Now, Israel repeatedly says it's not at war with Lebanon, but rather it seeks an end to the operations of Hezbollah in the country. How do you see the peace talks just opened with the Lebanese government ending this conflict?
I think it's a very positive development. Israel indeed is not with war with the Lebanese people, with the Lebanese government. We see in the recent month a new Lebanese government that is far more willing than its predecessors to negotiate with Israel and to put an end to Hezbollah hostilities against Israeli civilians. And that is a very good development. I fully support, and I think most of the Israelis, the vast majority of Israelis, fully support our government's decision to negotiate with the Lebanese government. But this is we have one clear condition. We can't have a paramilitary organization inside Lebanon that keeps targeting our civilians every day. The Lebanese government has to exercise its authority over its entire territory and make sure that there's no armed organizations that are firing rockets at Israel, whether it be Hezbollah or other organizations like Hamas that are also trying to get a strategic foothold inside Lebanon. We just can't allow this. But I really hope that these negotiations with Lebanon would not, peace is a big word and we're far from it. I hope that someday we will see peace between Israel and Lebanon. I think there are many similarities between Israelis and Lebanese people. But the first stage would be the American administration and other world governments empowering the Lebanese government and assisting it in fully disarming Hezbollah to make sure that there is no threat to Israeli civilians. Just to make sure that our audience understand what it means to be under Hezbollah threat. People in northern Israel have 15 seconds from the moment that the missile is launched from southern Lebanon until it hits their homes in northern Israel. 15 seconds is not enough to even put on your shoes and run to shelter. It's not enough for anything. I have friends living in northern Israel. I myself live in Haifa, which is a very big city in northern Israel. But people living on the border with Lebanon, my friends are not allowing their kids to step outside of the house because they know that if they just go 1 or 2 minutes away from their homes, there wouldn't be enough time for them to run for shelter. So we can't allow this reality to keep on. And Israel has to do whatever it can to disarm Hezbollah, whether it be in military ways or in diplomatic ways. I think myself and most Israeli civilians would rather it diplomatically, but unfortunately, the Lebanese government is not yet able to fully disarm Hezbollah. And until such a time when the Lebanese government is able to do so, Israel has to do what it takes to protect its own citizens.
Now, this conflict in the Middle East is indeed heartbreaking. And there's one question that's on the minds of many people. And I'd like to wrap up with that question. Do you ever think there could be permanent peace in the Middle East?
I think, we all desire peace in the Middle East. We need to break down what it means. I do believe that there is a very good chance of a peace agreement between Israel and Lebanon. I really see that happening. Again, I look at videos from Lebanon. I see a lot of similarities between the people of Israel and the Lebanese people. And I really think that's possible. But again, for that to happen, we will have to have a permanent disarmament of Hezbollah. I would say exactly the same about Iran. I think there's a lot of similarities between the Israelis and the Iranians. And I do see a time when, there's peace between Israel and Iran. There was a time like that during the times of the Shah, where Israeli companies operated in Iran and Israeli tours that were direct flights from Israel to Tehran. And I hoped such a day would come. But for that to happen, this radical regime will have to abandon its aspiration to eliminate Israel. They have a clock counting down to the moment when they will eliminate Israel. And all this radical ideology will have to disappear in order to achieve peace in the Middle East. Israel showed time and again that it's willing to work and make major sacrifices that are extremely controversial among Israelis in order to achieve peace. We gave up land that is Israeli territory in order to achieve peace. We did it with Egypt, and we achieved peace with Egypt and with Jordan, and we achieved peace with the United Arab Emirates and with Bahrain and Sudan in your continent and Morocco. And we are willing to make sacrifices to make that happen. But I think the bare minimum that we ask in return is that our civilians are secure and they are not facing everyday rocket attacks. I think that's a very reasonable request on the Israeli side.
Yeah. Indeed, like you said, everyone desires peace, and we can only hope that there is peace in the Middle East soon. I have been speaking with former IDF spokesperson Ophir Diamith. Thank you so much for joining us on STV News Blitz.
Thank you, and I really want to thank all our supporters in Nigeria, and I want to reiterate what you say. We really, all of us yearn for peace, so I really hope we get to that point.
We hope so too. Have a great day.